Hey, today I'll be talking about episodes 36 through 39 of YanXi Palace. Now that Chun sees her pining was just a dream, she decides she's finally ready to turn to her actual husband. With Shen's pushing and support, she sets up one of those classic palace meet cutes. After making up an excuse for her coldness over these last few years, they're off to a good start. Which makes sense, the emperor has always liked her and rather been confused about why she's always so distant. It's also a good distraction from the whole Yingluo situation. Chun becomes a well-loved consort in no time. Meanwhile, the emperor notices how low in spirits Fu Hong is. I wonder why that would be. Because his sister's husband decided to steal his girlfriend and marry him off to someone he has no interest in? Could that be what it is?
今日朕让你认了实差，又赐你美娇娘，怎么从你的脸上看不到丝毫喜色呀？
The emperor gets mad because apparently not only does Fu Hong have to go along with this, he also has to smile and pretend he's happy about it. Lovely. Rather than do anything useful, the emperor goes to Yingluo and gives her a choice. Either go to Fu Hong and tell him she never loved him so he can get over her, or on the first snow of the year, walk back and forth on the palace roads, bowing along the way for a full 24 hours. Dude, do you just get off on watching her suffer? Don't you have better things you could be doing with your time? Months pass and the wedding day arrives. I was really hoping for a dramatic "I object" moment, but no, they really do get married. You know, I said before that ErQing's attacks against Yingluo were silly because at the end of the day, Fu Hong doesn't want her, but you know what? Her goal was to marry him. And in that case, Yingluo was standing in her way and her scheming did get her what she wanted, so congrats, I guess. Fu Hong is about as happy as can be expected. When they're alone, ErQing makes it clear that she knows he never wanted to marry her and won't force any kind of affection. Fu Hong promises to at least make an effort. As they approach the palace to give their greetings, they see Yingluo walking and bowing. As far as they know, Yingluo's only doing this to get permission to return to Changchun Palace. They don't know about the choice that the emperor gave her. Fu Hong can't help but want to go to her when he sees how much she's struggling, but with a reminder from his wife, he stays the course. She continues for hours, and when it seems she can't take another step, someone appears by her side. I really do love him. He's made it clear that he doesn't think she should go back to Changchun Palace, but if this is what she wants, he'll be there to support her. Truly, what more can you ask for in a friend? Yuan goes to take her some water, and the emperor finds Yingluo just as she passes out. He takes her indoors and, I guess realizes he loves her. I just can't. I hate it so much. When Yingluo wakes up, she's changed into consort garb. To her confusion, the emperor arrives and is very handsy. He tells her that he intends to make her one of his ladies. She isn't interested, and again, I guess this is supposed to be cute as the emperor won't take no for an answer. Yingluo decides to change tactics. She says she's ready to sleep with him as long as he gives her a high status. The emperor understands what she's trying to do and realizing he won't be able to win her over, tells her she can go. I do get that this part isn't meant to be taken that seriously, but it's such a weird choice in a show where sexual assault is part of the main plot. After all that her sister went through, why the silly music in the background as if this wouldn't be an absolutely terrifying position to be in? It's like half the time they want to act like this man is capable of anything, and then the other half they're like, oh, he's harmless, you don't have to take him so seriously. Yingluo runs over to the Empress's palace, ready to finally be reunited, but doesn't get the warm reception she was hoping for. The Empress tells Yingluo she won't be able to walk anymore, and there's no chance of her ever having another child. She's sure that her palace will grow cold and deserted as the Emperor falls out of love with her, and suggests she find another master. The Empress even says she can release her from her service and allow her to go back home. Yingluo says she has no home to go back to. She tells the Empress the story of how her father, angry that she had killed her mother during childbirth, tossed her into a lake to drown. Her sister saved her and was the only one to show her love. Until the Empress, that is. By the way, who told her this story? Her sister? Seems like the kind of thing you should keep to yourself. She tells the Empress that she will give her all the love she can no longer give her older sister. She promises to help the Empress get back on her feet, metaphorically and literally. I'm not crying, you're crying. Before long, Chun is pregnant. She's been visiting the Empress less and less after her falling out with Fu Hong, but she does come to see her and tell her in person about the pregnancy. I will never get over how poorly trained Mingyu is and how the Empress just refuses to care. Excuse me? Hello? Also, so Chun and the Empress. Without Fu Heng, does Chun actually care about the Empress? And since the Empress never really knew Chun's true personality, does she really count as a friend? I guess we'll see. Mingyu and Yingluo help the Empress with rehab. It's tough work, of course, but Yingluo does a great job keeping her spirits up. After months of effort, she begins to walk with a cane and eventually can even walk a few steps without one. So proud of her. Xian hasn't forgotten about Yuan's help on porridge day, and once the opportunity arises, she promotes him again, giving him a high position in the household department.
不要让本宫失望。
多谢娘娘恩典。
Fu Heng continues to visit the Empress, and Yingluo is much better than he is at pretending to have moved on. Or, maybe she's actually just moved on. Meanwhile, ErQing has gone full villain. Despite all her claims about being magnanimous and not caring if Fu Heng still loves Yingluo, when a maid finds an old present from Yingluo in Fu Heng's bed, she becomes enraged and takes her anger out on the maid of all people. Fu Heng arrives in time to find the servant beaten half to death.
ErQing，你在干什么？
我干什么？你不都看见了吗？
He sends all of the servants out, but ErQing is not even the least bit apologetic. She laments that in the years since they've married, he has spent all his time holed up in his study and somehow gets it in her head that he must be spending time with this pretty maid.
忙得日夜颠倒才忽略了，但跟那个婢女毫无关系。
我不会再相信你了。
ErQing doesn't want to hear it, and when she finds out that he is holding a hairpin, insists that it's evidence of his affair. Fu Heng says it was actually for her, and then leaves her to her madness. When he goes to check on the maid, she gives him the pouch she found. She says she refused to hand it over and protected it with her life since it was obvious it meant a lot to him.
少爷，不要卖掉青莲。少爷，少爷，少爷，少爷。
Aww. Although even without any resemblance to Yingluo, this maid deserves pity. ErQing pulled out her fingernails. Forget keeping her employed, I'd be giving her a severance package and setting her up in her own house. I know you guys have the money. The viciousness with which ErQing beat the maid disgusts Fu Heng, and he can't stand being around her anymore. Although it looks like he wasn't doing much of that anyway. She tries to make up with him, but is so dismissive about what she did to the maid that it's even more off-putting.
因一时嫉妒就毁人一生。
Hitting that sore spot, he says she can never compare to Yingluo, and he will forever be disgusted with her black heart. Fu Heng's little brother finds ErQing crying, and from his point of view, yeah, Fu Heng must look like the world's worst husband. Meanwhile, from ErQing's inner monologue, we see that she has given up on making Fu Heng love her, and is now intent on making him suffer as much as she has. ErQing goes to the Empress for some pity, but the Empress knows her brother's personality, and even though ErQing tries to play it down, she knows she must have done something terrible for him to be this angry. Still, she agrees to let ErQing stay in the palace for a while to cool off from the fight. Ma'am, there is such a thing as too nice. ErQing wastes very little time in making a nuisance of herself, ordering Yingluo to go and unpack her things, though she's busy with another task for the Empress.
在这儿，一切要以皇后娘娘的需求为先。我是主子，你是奴才。
I haven't mentioned in a while how much I love Yingluo, right? I love her. ErQing tries to call on the other servants to back her up, but they are 100% loyal to and or afraid of Yingluo. ErQing has no power here.
走廊的地太滑了，富察夫人不小心摔了一跤，快扶她回去。
Love to see it. It seems that Chun at least really has moved on from Fu Heng and is now just looking forward to the future. Happy for her, but this maid should have been fired. Chun gives birth to a prince, the emperor's sixth son, which gets her a promotion to Gui Fei. So now she and Xian are the highest ranked concubines in the harem, and they both have sons. Even though the empress is always the picture of calm, anyone would feel threatened and insecure in this position. Knowing this, ErQing approaches her with a solution to her problems, a medicine she claims guarantees pregnancy. The Empress decides not to tell Yingluo, knowing that she will object as the doctors have advised her against getting pregnant again. To her, having another child is more important than her life, but she knows Yingluo would not agree. Before long, surprise surprise, the Empress actually does get pregnant.
恭喜皇后娘娘，贺喜皇后娘娘。
So why isn't everyone on this pill then? ErQing mentions that it costs a fortune, but like, if anyone can afford it, it's the emperor, right? Yingluo begins to suspect something is up and gets the news out of Mingyu.
璎珞，魏璎珞，长春宫的事儿，难道都得向你汇报吗？
ErQing says it's all thanks to her that Changchun Palace has such joyous news, and I mean, what can be done now? The Empress is already pregnant. Yingluo goes off to mope a bit at the labor department, and yay! So they are still friends. I was worried they'd fallen out after the emperor saved her.
我不管什么权贵圣宠，我只想要娘娘平安无事。
Yuan reminds her that what's done is done. Her job now is to help her mistress give birth safely. We fast forward in time, and before long, it's 6 months later. Or so they say, because there's no way on earth that child was just born. Am I crazy? This kid is definitely at least 2, right? On the night of the anniversary of Second Prince's death, the emperor gets drunk thinking about the loss of his favorite son. He heads to the empress's palace, rousing her from bed to ask if she thinks this pregnancy is Yonglian returning to them.
他愿不愿意 做成的儿子。
The Empress can see that he needs the company and says he should stay here for the night. They can't sleep in the same bed since she's so pregnant, so he's put in a side room. He's still very drunk when a maid comes in to deliver some soup, and he ends up sleeping with her. This must happen often because Liu is just like, oh, lucky her. Until the next morning, when out comes ErQing. Though she looked scared and confused when she came out, based on her behavior when she gets back to her room, this was all part of the plan. A plan the Emperor was clearly not in on. ErQing leaves the palace immediately, and it seems that other than Li Yu, the maid who gave her the clothes to sneak in, and of course ErQing and the Emperor, no one else knows what happened. Mingyu is suspicious that something happened last night, but for once, Yingluo's perception check fails, and she dismisses Mingyu's suspicions as nothing. I guess it had to happen at some point, but Yingluo has completely missed something. Ooh boy, ErQing, baby, what are you doing? Honestly, I could still understand some people pitying ErQing, because Fu Hong has not held up his end of the deal. It seems like she's been doing her absolute best to be the perfect wife to him, and he hasn't made even a bit of an effort to move on from Yingluo. Of course this would drive her crazy. But I feel like it's important to remember that she's not totally innocent in all of this. This isn't something that just happened to her. Forcing your way into a life with someone you know full well is totally in love with someone else, and then getting upset when they don't return your feelings is kind of crazy. You did this to yourself. And then ErQing, why? What did this little maid do to you? Do you know how messed up you have to be to listen to someone's screams as you pull out their fingernails and just keep going? Yingluo says,
人是不会变得那么快的，只是因为未曾发觉。
And okay, yeah, there must have been something seriously broken in her before all this started, because 1 year of neglectful husband shouldn't turn a normal person into this, right? Unlike the women in the harem, she still has the freedom to walk about, have hobbies, see her parents, make actual friends. I mean, this is the kind of behavior I would expect from someone locked up old boy style. Your plan is to, what, cuckold Fu Hong just to piss him off? There are 1,001 better things you could be doing with your time. Anyway, random note, but her voice is very nice and soothing.
从前，在宫里最怕下雪，怕大雪压垮了这些花枝，娘娘会伤心，怕会撞上哪宫的主子，说贵就贵。如今，我终于可以好好赏雪了。
Great monologue, so go and do that. You are no longer a servant. Go enjoy the snow, live your life. Literally, nothing is holding you back but yourself. Till next time, thanks for watching.